Good morning. Welcome to our Ask Networking Breakfast. We do this every month. I see many familiar faces, and I hope you keep coming back. We only have one more this school year. It's going to be on June 4th, and it's about embracing change, and we have more information in the back, so I hope that you keep coming back. How many of you, this is your first Ask Breakfast that you've attended? We love welcoming new faces, so whatever brought you here, keep coming back, and I hope you enjoyed the experience today, and I do believe you will. We have a wonderful speaker and topic, and I think you'll enjoy the learning, but also you've probably already experienced the networking and meeting people. I love this space because you can network with a small table if you want, but also network with more people outside of your own table, so I hope you take advantage of that. My name is Gina Sian. I manage the Alumni Sharing Knowledge Program, and we are a part of the Career Center. We connect students and alumni with wonderful volunteers, many of whom are in the room, who can answer questions for you about your career. So they can do one-on-one conversations. What I like about it is customized. Not everyone has the same concerns, so whatever concern you have, you can talk to a mentor and say, here's what I'm worried about, and they can give you their advice. I'll just bring up real quickly our website so you can see it. We also have information in the back. Ask.DePaul.edu is our website. We have information about our mentoring program and how we can find a mentor. We also offer practice interviews. So if you're actively applying for positions, for internships, our mentors can do one-on-one practice with you. So you can make your mistake with us and not with a recruiter. So a lot of information. Don't forget, again, invite you to look at our program in the back. I don't want to take additional time from this wonderful presentation. However, for the sake of our speaker and also the ones in the room, how many people here are Ask mentors? There's a lot of you here. Great. How many alumni? Maybe not quite Ask yet. A few. Hopefully you start joining. Grad students. How many undergraduate students? As always, to our speaker, we have a nice mix, and everyone has different concerns, but what I love about this topic, everyone gets a little bit nervous about presentation at some point. No matter how seasoned you are, you're kind of like, am I well prepared? Am I talking about the right thing? How will the audience react to me? So I am very excited about this topic because no matter where you are in your professional career, I think this is going to be helpful for you. It's my pleasure to introduce you to Patricia Jones, who's our speaker, and you've been looking at her bio a little bit. You've seen her announcement. I won't bore you with reading all the formalities, but I think if you think strategy and business and technology and all the large companies, and when they have an issue about change or about speaking or about any other challenges they may be having, you would call someone like Patricia. And she's certainly supported a lot of organizations, large ones like Bank of America, Nestle, and Rush. She's worked at Accenture after doing her own consulting role as well. She's done different roles at Accenture. Her last role there being in the Global Strategy and Human Performance Consulting Group. And she's a proud DePaul alumna, obtained her undergrad degree from the School for New Learning here at DePaul. So please join me in welcoming Ms. Patricia Jones.
Well, thank you all for coming today. I happen to love speaking at this point, but it wasn't always the case. And I see that another good poll that you got, Gina, that was quite a little spread.
Yes.
So anyways, I guess that one of the things that I want to share with you is that when I thought about preparing for today, I thought about, why do we present? What's our real goal? So with that, I really quickly here have put up a little bit of some of my ideas, and maybe we can even add to it, but I think primarily we want to influence in some way. Influence or inform. So is there anything else that you would add on presenting outside of influencing and informing people? What are some of the things that from a presentation perspective you would want to make sure happens? By all means.
I would say encouragement.
Encourage.
Like you're encouraging us to say, you know what, it's scary, but you can do it.
I love it. Beautiful. And we want to do it in what way? Confidently, succinctly, very concise. We want it to flow. We want the people to feel like it's an interesting topic, that they're walking away with something, that it was worthy of their time. So in the end, we want some kind of some kind of a response from them, right? what are some of the other things that you might add as far as when you're presenting? What are some of your personal high-level goals?
Engage.
So tell me what you mean by that.
Essentially, I would like to personalize my speech to the audience that I'm presenting to, so that they are interested and interested in what I'm saying. Essentially.
Yeah. Other thoughts?
When I go into public speaking, which isn't very often, I find one of the biggest elements that makes the flow of presentation, however it's done, is preparation beforehand. So that you know your material, you're confident in delivering.
And then, so what does that from an outcome perspective mean to the audience?
That means that you're on top of your game, essentially.
So you feel very confident, and you know what you want to have them understand or take away.
Point across.
Yes.
Well, in presentations, I'd like my audience to get excited about the topic that I'm presenting.
Oh, I like that. So engage, excitement. Okay, I don't know what language that is, but it says excitement. All right, one more?
I want to keep everything in my speech to the point, and no fillers, no digressions.
So you want to get from here to there without a lot of
Yes,
that.
unless some humor is involved. That would be
Yep,
good.
yep. And yeah, that doesn't hurt, right? A little, they're having a good time along the way. So we'll just call it good time. So, and we've got the succinct. So with that, kind of that being our frame, I want to share with you a little bit of what we're going to do this morning. I know we have a very limited time, and that's why I'm really grateful. I am not a morning person. I guess I have one more poll question before we dive in. How many of you are morning people? Okay, we're going to rely on you to be very engaged. Okay? All right, so today, I'm going to share with you what are the expectations and promises that I have for you today, why I'm here, what drew me to want to do this. So I've gotten a little bit of a sense of why you're here. And then we're going to end up doing some very brief collection of information. So you're going to actually feed me a little bit. And then the bulk of what we're going to do is, knowing that we had, this limited time, the 40 minutes, I've come up with what do I think are going to be the things that I've learned over the 20 plus years of speaking that I think are going to be most impactful to you as you present. So I've got 5 tips, and I want to share with you that with those 5 tips, it's not just going to be me rolling them out, but sharing some stories as to how that's played out over the course of my career. And then what I also want you to know is that I want to give you some ideas so that after you've stepped out of the room, how can you continue to refine what you're doing as far as speaking? So some ideas that I've used to help myself over time. So moving forward. Oh, and I'm going to leave time for Q&A because this is really all about you. Okay. So moving on to expectations and promises. So what I heard is that mostly people want to increase their confidence. That's what I understood. We want to think about a couple of things. So what's your name? Vic. Vic had talked about preparation. So part of what we're going to talk about is creating some foundation, that preparation before you're even stepping up in front of a group. So establishing that foundation. How can you make choices that allow you to feel really comfortable, both mentally and physically? So sometimes what I hear, I do a lot of coaching, and in that coaching, people feel physically uncomfortable. There's a little moisture, but they feel physically uncomfortable. So one of the steps that you can take, so you just feel more comfortable in front of a room, speaking in public, and then part of what I think I hear a lot of is you're in the middle of presenting and you think you're going this way and it goes that way. How do you manage that? How do you manage conflict coming up through your presentations? And then making the presentation your own. So the more that we make the presentation our own, the more that we're gonna feel like we own it, like we're gonna try and keep it down that road. So that's where we're gonna head a little bit from an objectives perspective. One of the things that I think is important, this is just a little bit of how I hope it comes across to you. So pragmatic and informative. I want you to walk away, and I would love for you, my email is on there. I would love to hear your feedback after you leave here, and especially if you've taken any of the information that we moved through today and it's made a difference for you, or if you have questions, you can reach out to me. But pragmatic, informative, I'm going to try and keep it as tight as possible, especially given our timing. Entertaining, energizing, playful, feel free. In fact, there's a few toys back there. They're not mine, but I'm sure we can pull them out. So that's our goals for today. I have a couple of ground rules, and it's not for me, it's for all of you. So I know it's morning and you might be getting some emails, but I would love it if you could put away the phone, turn it over. And mostly that's because you're at a table of people and it just distracts people. So if you can, okay, I'm begging, that would be great. I call it have your lips moving. I just really invite you all to participate today, even you back there, yeah? I'm going back to it's morning time, so for my non-morning people, you morning people can help us out, give us a little nudge. All right, ground rules are done. So I wanted to talk a little bit about why I'm here. So if I was to nutshell why organizations bring me on, why people ask me to consult, why they ask me to be, a coach for them, it's because the initial part of my career was in business, so really understanding business. Then I was in technology roles, and I went very deep, even project management, deep project management. Then it was change management. And so it's bringing together those pieces and helping organizations transform. To give you a flavor of some of the things that I've done 9 merger integrations for a number of organizations. I can deep dive on this with you. But it's bringing things together and kind of having that understanding of bringing it back to the business. So even when I was in a technology role, it really came back to this links to business. So when you're talking about the change management piece, it's an organization's really made up of people. And how does all that, again, relate back to the business, marrying it, bringing it all together? So a little bit of that, but primarily what I want you to know is that what makes me wildly happy, crazy, thrilled, is helping other people be successful. So helping them to think differently, see things differently, to add to their success. So that is the bottom line. Like literally, I'm a jump up and down kind of person. When I see that people are, it's made a difference for them. So that's why I'm here. So, aspirations and reality. Okay, this is going to close and I'm going to ask things of you. So, we're going to get rid of what's up here because I'm going to call upon you guys. Oh, man, this is taking some effort. We got to invest in a new eraser. Okay, aspirations and reality. So, first of all, what I'm interested in understanding a little bit is, when we think about presenting, I think it's business settings, it's to your church, it's in front of your family, it could be your one-on-one, it could be, you've got people that you know, sometimes it's people you don't know. So I want to get a little bit of an understanding, primarily by show of hands, about, who is it that you're speaking to, and we're going to talk about it from a size, by the types of people first. So with that, how many are doing primarily one-on-one? Couple of you? Small handful? Okay. How many of you are more in the small group? Okay. And then larger groups. Some of you are not talking to anybody. All right, for those of you who didn't raise your hand, I'm curious, where would you say the size of the groups are that you're speaking to? And maybe it's that you're just speaking to all. So back there, I saw some of the folks back there not raise their hand. Who is it that you're speaking to? Anybody? No?
I said small group.
I didn't raise my hand, so I'll speak to those.
What's that?
I don't speak much. So.
You don't speak much. All right, so maybe there's a goal for some of you to speak in a variety of ways, but so one of the things that I think is important, if we kind of come up and anchor here for a minute, is the personality of the people that you're, having a communication with. Where is it? And kind of thinking about that. The experience, are you talking to someone who's a novice, or are you stepping into a conversation with somebody who's highly experienced? It does make a difference. And then, what's their level in the organization? I know that for me personally, when I'm gearing up to talk to an executive or a board member, I'm thinking about things differently than someone who's just joined the organization and has a different experience base. So I'm bringing this up because of where we're headed, and want you to kind of just mentally be kind of thinking about do you kind of have this conversation with yourself before you go into an audience? Do you kind of think about this a little bit for yourself? And then the third bullet you'll see down there, primary third bullet, is what are the environments that you're stepping into? So let's say I'm going to go speak to a executive, and I understand some of what's going on in their organization. I may know that, so I did some work for Nestle, where Nestle was actually closing down an office here and moving it to another location. And so the environment that I was stepping into and what was on the executive's plate was very different than an organization where we're like, we want to do something to really make a transformation in our finance organization. So it really plays a role in, what is going on more broadly in the setting of the group that you're going to go speak to, or the person that you're going to go speak to. So I wanted you to kind of think about this a little bit. So is there anybody who wants to comment about, maybe they've got a presentation coming up, and, I see some nodding, and you want to kind of share with me a little bit when you think about this, what does that look like for you?
Yeah, I was just thinking as I look at your slides that they are playful. For me, I'm going to be talking to parents of elementary school age children. So at the same token, I want them to take it serious, but I shouldn't be too serious. I was thinking as you were saying all of this, I'm like, yeah, my slides actually, they look more serious and boring and more professional, I would say. I'm not as playful as yours,
Well,
and creative.
go ahead.
So I was wondering, what is the...
So can I ask you a quick question before you present
Sure.
yours? So can you give me a little bit of, what you're going to go talk to them about, and where you think that their minds are going to be?
Oh, it's going to be how to learn a foreign language and what it takes to be fluent.
Can you guys hear that? How to learn a foreign language?
What
Okay.
it takes.
So I'm going to sidebar and respond to the question, because there was a question kind of embedded in me drawing out some of the data. So first of all, I have to give all the credit to creating this presentation to Karina, who is amazing. She's in the master's program at the School of Psychology. So she created this in Prezi. And one of the things that's vital is, as you know from what's going on in social media, the stimulations that's required in a presentation needs to be a little different. And so I thought that this Prezi was kind of that balance that you're looking for. I still want to communicate information. I want to have a little bit of an anchor right in front of me so that you guys can see it. I don't want it to be cluttered with a lot of things, but I want to have it be also something that looks a little like not what you're going to expect. Right? So throughout this, I'm going to model what I hope that you'll have as takeaways to the presentation. So again, I'm thinking we have this limited time, we've locked the door, but we have to open it in minutes. So we'll go ahead and move forward. So this is all you, okay? I'm not going to contribute. So when you go into a presentation, how do you want your audience to feel? what do you want them to be thinking? So I want you to just throw out terms as to how you want them to think and feel.
Odd.
Got it? Give me a odd. Wow. Okay.
Call to action.
You want them to feel like they need to act. Okay.
Inspired?
Inspired. Okay. Bored? Bored.
Bored.
So you want them to be persuaded, or you want them to go do some persuading on your behalf? Okay. So we'll just put persuade. Because sometimes what I'm asking people to do is, I want you to be on my behalf to do something for me. Right? Back here?
Motivate.
Motivated. Say more what you mean.
Maybe give them a speech on going to the gym, motivate them to go to the gym more.
Okay. Ooh, now, go ahead.
Engaged.
Engaged. Yep. You want them, just like today. Lips moving.
Think critically.
Ooh, say more about that.
Well, get the gears turning in their head so that the whole melting pot is kind of twisting and turning of idea generation.
Love it. Did you hear that? Thinking?
Critically.
I didn't finish it on purpose, so you wouldn't. I call that out because it's something you can use. Okay, and I saw one more hand over here.
Impressed. You know, like for it's
Impressed. You guys have high goals. Sorry.
In an interview setting, you would need those skills to impress.
Okay, yeah, because that might be for some of you where you're using your presentation skills, and that's very true in an interview. I use the same kinds of things that I'm presenting here today in an interview. So, in fact, I don't think of interviews as interviews. I think of it as just presenting myself. All right, we might come up with some other things later, but, so moving on. So we're going to just remember these, right? All right, I could have used one more color. So sometimes when you're presenting, these are not what you think that your audience feels, right? You think they feel what? Sometimes it is, but what are some of the other things that you think that your audience actually feels?
Lethargic.
Okay, we're going to put these up here. Bored,
Lethargic.
lethargic,
Lost.
asleep. Wow. We may have to do one-on-one coaching.
Confused.
Preoccupied.
Confused?
Preoccupied.
Confused?
Preoccupied.
Preoccupied? Okay, I totally had in mind what somebody else was going to write. Anyone else want to?
Just that it's a waste of time.
Okay. No, I've heard that. Like, you know what? We're all really busy, right?
Yeah.
And so the people on the other hand want to feel like you guys want to feel like you walk out here like, okay, I traveled here. I mean, you got good food, so it's already, you know, you got some good food. So hopefully there's a little bit. Anybody else want to say something that I missed? Okay. So I think that is a helpful list, and this kind of aligns to what I've heard. So moving on, I've got only one more little exercise for you. So we're gonna leave this, and we're gonna step away from the audience. I want you to tell me right now, how do you want to feel? Okay? How do you want to feel going in your delivery, after you've left? You know, like you want to walk out and be like, yes, that was a blast. You know, so we're going to start with, how do you want to feel?
Confident.
Okay.
Accomplished.
Helpful.
Confident, accomplished. What else we have?
Helpful.
Helpful? Helpful. Meaning that you're, like, describe that I want to have you be more successful, I want to help
Right.
you, I want to be of benefit to you. So, more.
Prepare.
You want to feel prepared. Okay? And I like that one because remember, you want to be able to do that. Remember when you go off here, when you thought you were going there? Preparation, right?
I can't control it.
You want to feel like you're in control. Okay. That's a fallacy, but it's a good goal.
Excited?
Oh yeah, you want to feel excited. I like it. Okay. Maybe two more.
Have fun?
You want to have fun? Right here.
Knowledgeable?
You want to be knowledgeable, have fun, and if somebody thought of one, just yell it out. I saw some people.
Proud.
Proud. Ooh, that's good. All right, did we hit it? I don't want to not take it. Okay, so you know where we're going, right? What comes after this? You ready? Oh, how do you feel? Karina's ahead of me. She always is. I have to catch up with her. All right. So how do you feel? Okay. So in your presentations,
Frustrated?
Yeah.
and I know that some of these, so sometimes you feel frustrated. And think about how your audiences maybe reacted. What was some of the others?
Nervous?
Nervous. Okay.
Bored?
We're definitely one-on-one coaching.
I'd say incomplete, like you feel like you could have done more or said more. Maybe
I'll use
regretful,
the word incomplete just.
or maybe regretful.
How many people walk out, with a lot of I wish? Right? Anybody?
Yeah.
A little bit of I wish. I wish is pretty natural though, because you always want to get better, right? I wish I'd done this. And reflecting afterwards is a wonderful thing to do. It really will allow you to, continue to evolve your skills. So, did I get any others? Anybody else want to?
Passionate?
What is it?
Passionate?
So you do feel passionate. Passionate is good. All right, I saw a hand over here.
Improvisational, or if that's a word. Improv.
So what you mean by that is that you're able to be adaptable in the moment?
Yes.
Okay. So that you felt like you were skilled at adapting to the moment. Okay. English is my first language. I know it may not look it. So this gives you a sense of, so do you think that people feel this when you're presenting? Depends on what?
Depends on the presentation, how many times have you done it, who's your audience, where are you doing it, if you're comfortable, the room settings, temperature, there are so many other variables.
Okay. I would suggest that most of the time, your audience feels the energy that you're putting off if you're feeling it in the moment. Most of the time they do. So they're going to feel it, and so the better that you can get in control of your energy and how it feels for you is going to make a difference on how it feels for them. All right, we're done. No more exercises for you unless you want to weigh in. So, tip number one is all about the audience. So I'm going to tell a brief story here. I had the opportunity, 10, 12 years ago, at least, to work on a cultural change inside an insurance organization. And at the time, it had to be well beyond the 12 years. And I was presenting to the entire organization. And so in the morning it was 800 people, and in the afternoon it was 800 people. So it was a small organization. I've done larger. But the morning, it was that, remember I walked out, yes, right? That felt so good. I felt like people were engaged and excited, and that the information, was like drawn upon. and people, you know, like even wanted to get involved in this. We called it Dare to Care. That was the name of the program, and it went so well. And I you know, like I was flying because of the impact that it had on people and how they understood it. And it wasn't just me, but it was me and some of the team that I had working with me. It just felt amazing. And then in the afternoon, I was like, think almost the opposite extreme. I was like, oh, kill me. Someone put a knife in me, take me out of my pain. Anyways, I really looked at the case of like, why such a very different experience for me? And it was really because in the session that didn't feel good, I was so worried about me. I was not focused on everyone else. In the first one, I was like, I wanted to make a difference. It was all about the audience. And so for me, when I mean, of all the coaching I do, and I will tell you, speaking was and coaching were not areas that I thought I'd be helping people in, but it's happened to come into my life. So coaching, the speaking, is the number one thing that I'm helping people with. This, through that coaching, is the number one thing that comes up. Is people are so worried about how they're going to look instead of focusing on what the audience, what's going to impact the audience. What does the audience need? Where are their minds going to be? Like, how can I think about the audience? And so the first 3 tips that we're going to talk about are all about before you even step in the room with your audience, be it that one person, be it, you know, that small group, be it that large group. So that's the single thing, if you were to take away anything, is take out that it's about you. That, like, don't care how you look, care about what you're able to do for the individuals that you're going to be speaking to. The other thing would be framing up your presentation. When I say frame up your presentation, one of the people that I was coaching, her name is Tricia, and she works in a technology sales role. And she actually was going in and she had that PowerPoint, you know the ones. Some of you have seen those, right? And she had all this information that she had intended on presenting. And the person came in and said, as it turns out, I don't have the hour and a half that I was going to give you. I do have 10 minutes though. 10 minutes. So what can we do in 10 minutes? And what do you think she did? Wilted. Because she hadn't framed up her presentation. She had this big thing and it needed, like in her mind, she needed to get it all out there. So think about that example. And then I'm going to take you to one more example and then we're going to draw this together. The Dare to Care that I had talked about, the cultural change, in order for that to get underway, they asked me to speak to their executive team. And it was a similar situation. They had said, Patty, you're last on the agenda. You know how that is. People want to get out, right? So you're last on the agenda, and this is how much time you've got. And I think I actually had 30 minutes. So I'm in the room, I'm listening to all the other people present, because it's a group of people. How much time did I end up with? 5 minutes. So as the time is dwindling down, I look at what I framed up, and I think to myself, okay, it's 5 minutes. I've got an outline here. Now I can drill into what is it that I can do to find out, to influence in the 5 minutes, right? So I drill into it. And for me, because I outlined something and I could go, pull it out, cut out what I needed, I was able to use those 5 minutes and have it be really effective. So I share those 2 stories because if you start by framing up your presentation, what is it starts with what are the objectives that you have for the audience. What is it that you want to achieve? But really kind of outlining what you want to step through. What do you want them to understand? It helps because then you can go in when you have less time You can think about, does this flow? Because you talked a little bit about flow. You can think about, okay, if I look at my objective and I look at my outline towards the goal of being succinct and concise, does everything on the outline really need to be there? What can I cut away? What can I cut away? So, framing up the presentation. I could talk about this for days, and again, if anybody wants to reach out to me, but framing up your presentation helps you in that preparedness, helps you in that when it goes off here, if you have that outline, you can help maneuver back, or you can like reorder. Tip number 3, identify where their hearts and minds are going to be. So we talked a little bit about Nestle and where that organization was. So every time I stepped into a meeting with people, they were not, some of them were already, had decided they weren't going to move to the new location, right? Nestle was moving their plant, or I shouldn't say their plant, their business, to Ohio, actually. And so did some of the Chicago people want to go? Nah, they didn't. So was their head really necessarily in the discussions about, we want to ready, the organization that's going to be in the new place. So understanding where people's hearts and minds are going to be is going to shift how you choose your words, can you see it? You can move your chair if you want. So you can think about and kind of just try and see where they're going to be. So does anybody think about, so let's, may I use your example? What's your name? She's writing, I like it.
Oh, sorry. Hi.
Your name is Gina?
Yes.
Okay, Gina. Gina, where do you think the hearts and minds will be of the people that you're going to present to?
For them, it's not so important, or they don't know what it essentially takes to learn a foreign language. So,
Do you think they're interested in learning a foreign language?
yes, they are, but they don't know, and it's not like their top priority.
So how's it going to fit in their life? Okay. What would be the benefit, like one benefit, of why it would be, they would want to learn a foreign language?
Because it's better to learn it at the elementary level instead of high school.
Ah, so what you want to influence is that their children learn a foreign language.
Yes, it's for
I
their
thought you
children.
wanted them to learn a foreign language.
No.
Okay, so I got you.
It's of elementary school.
All right, so maybe where their hearts and minds would be is, I want my children to learn a lot of things, right?
Right.
So is this, among all those lots of things, should this be something that is invested in and where in that cycle of as they're educated? So a little bit of what I imagine you'll be sharing is, like, what are some of the benefits that their young ones would have, both along the way and in their future? If I had a little one, I would definitely do it, because there's a lot of benefits to being bilingual or multilingual. So does that make sense? This one seems a little less clear when I'm looking at your faces. Yes? No? Back there? Okay, moving on. So build rapport and set expectations. So a little bit of what I try to do, knowing that we had a little bit of time together, was have you get to know me a little bit. And, what it is that fuels me, and then what is it that I have hopes of this offering to you as an audience. So what are some of those expectations? What are the end result expectations, and then how are we going to move through it kind of expectations? If you help people understand where we're headed over the course of the presentation, they're going to kind of feel it as we flow. So, don't go forward yet, Karina, if you would. How many more tips are there? 4. Yeah. How do you know that?
5's a good number.
What? Yeah.
Put it in here. Put it there.
I'm relying on my morning people right now. All right, tip number 5. Engage people. And, yes, it's definitely what we've done here in the room today, but what I would suggest to you is, if you're going into presentations, especially small group or large group, try and connect with some of the people that you're going to have in your audience. It'll help you hone in on your messaging. Oftentimes when I'm speaking to large groups and small groups, I ask to have conversations with some of the people who are going to be in the audience so that I know that I'm going to be able to hit the nail on the head about what's going to be of benefit to them. So it's a practice that I have. I do it almost all the time. And in fact, today when I came here, I actually tried to connect with some of the people who are here to understand what are some of the things that they want to improve upon or feel are a challenge. So it's not just engaging in the moment. So that's a little bit of what I think can help you. What I would also say is that for some of you who do speaking in business settings and want that influence, having conversations to not just understand that person's interest, but to understand the dynamics that you're going to walk into. More about that environment, more about what are the things that that the people in the room might have as interests. Who are the people in the room that might take it over in that direction? What are some of the concerns that you might want to bring into your presentation because you know that there's going to be a need to address those things. So using the preparation in engagement is also very, very worthwhile. So that's tip number 5. Seeking out ways to improve. One of the things that I'm doing even here today is I'm going to ask you to help me because I do want to continuously evolve. So when I say that, I mean really be open. Like I am hungry to be my best self. So really let people know that. So I encourage you when you write on there, feel free. I want to hear if there's anything that would be of benefit to you. I'm also recording this for myself and listening to myself. So if you're a person who does webinars, that's how you present, go back and just listen to it. Listen to it and it'll allow you to continue to get better. The other thing would be there's a lot of apps that you can record yourself. And so just step back and listen to how you come across. And I think you might find yourself sometimes being surprised in some ways. So those are a couple of ways that I wanted to leave you with. At this point, we are, well, that is me. Do I look like me? Okay, you can leave that up. So that is my contact information. Yeah, I like the one where it's bigger. So why? Because I want you to be able to read it. And my phone number, not the big face necessarily, but this stuff of reaching out to me and connecting with me. There's a lot of things that I do speak on, and there's a list there of some of the things that I have spoken on or do workshops on. But what I really want to do right now is, how am I doing on time?
Great.
Am I good? All right, so really, again, this is about you. So I want this to be some time where you talk about either a challenge that you've had in the past or something that you've got coming up, and I want to be able to try and support that. So is there anybody who has some questions? Can you share your name with me?
Oh, Ariana.
Ariana.
So I'm curious, do you have anything to deal with essentially stage fright? Because sometimes I prepare a lot for a presentation, but I still get nervous when I'm in front of the audience, especially if it's a large audience.
So one of the things that I do, and the question was about how to alleviate or diminish stage fright. And so there's 3 things that I would suggest. One is obviously doing it as much as possible, because I think you get more and more comfortable. 2 is connect with your audience a little bit in advance so they're real people to you. I don't know who you're presenting to. But I think that when you actually, for some people they're more comfortable when they know people. Some of the people that I coach, they're actually more comfortable if they don't know people. That's a little bit about me. I'm actually even more comfortable if I don't know anybody in the room. I could go in a bus and probably speak. And then I would say, thirdly is just kind of put yourself in that mindset of that you want to contribute to them. That's what takes away my stage fright entirely, is because I'm not thinking about myself at all, like at all. So that did come over time. Now, in the beginning, I you know, on my first early presentations, I remember a day where I was like, I presented, and then I like ran out of the room. Does that help at all?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. What's your name?
Michael.
Michael.
My name is Michael. I deal with first-year students, and a big problem I always see is a lack of involvement on their part because they're nervous and they don't know you. And despite my efforts to be welcoming and energetic, how do you deal with an audience that is unresponsive?
So is this in groups or one-on-one?
Groups.
Okay, groups of first-year students who are new to the DePaul.
New to Chicago,
Okay,
yes.
you do look like a security guy. No, I'm kidding. No, I'd say that a little bit of it is, I would suggest two things. One is humor, I think, puts us all in a place where we were open and unguarded. So being humorous, and I would say that the other thing is maybe be a little self-deprecating. What do I mean by that is kind of put yourself on there, like sometimes when you say, like I was just talking about the fact that I wasn't always in a position like this where I could like stand up here for whatever amount of time and talk. You know, like talking about that, you know, you were once a first-year student and like how you felt, or you know, something where you get them to be like, it's, you know, like you're still there to guide them and support them, but you know, a little bit of like getting them to feel comfortable, and then they're at ease. Does that help? Okay. What's your name?
Brian.
Brian.
So what if you're presenting a really boring topic, like a compliance or something like that? People like don't really like want to be there. It's just kind of like something you have to do.
That is a great question. So Brian's question is about what if I have to present a boring topic. My favorite speech ever is we ran this 3-day leadership event at Kraft, and we had to have someone come in and talk about compliance. The guy was the best speaker of the whole 3 days, and he was amazing because of his storytelling capability. So he took what was a dry topic and created something like stories around. So stories are one of the most powerful things to get across an idea. And I would have liked to have shared a whole lot more because that's what I have in my arsenal is a ton of stories. But storytelling where you take something that, you know, like you need to get a point across about why it's important. So in this case, you know, he actually talked about when compliance wasn't adhered to and, you know, what that looked like, and he made it humorous. And the crowd, I mean, he was exceptional. So I think even with a boring topic, you can really have it come across in a way that's interesting and intriguing and memorable. What's your name?
My name is Fang, and my question is, what if you are late of the time to prepare? Like, for example, you only have like about 20 minutes or 30 minutes to prepare a case or a topic, and then you need to present to a group of people.
Okay, so the question was, what if you only have 20 minutes and you're going to prepare? So can you give me an example of the topic?
Like, for example, like during a case competition, and you are given like other case, and you need to study the case and then present to the judge, like 2-3 judges.
So you tell me, because I already have in my mind, what do you think you would do in those 20 minutes?
First of all, read through the case, and then try to figure out the problems that I need to solve, the key things that they are looking for, and then organize like what I want to say, like 3 or 4 bullet points, and then maybe make an outline and go there and speak to all of them.
So where's your struggle in that cycle?
What do you mean by?
So where would you want to improve in that? Is it your delivery of of the material, because it's very much like what I would do, is I would try to understand the situation, understand my audience that I'm going to present to. I would want to understand, what is it that I'm going to solve against, since you're talking about it, this is a problem. What, definitely what is the outcome that I want to have, and what are the points that I'm going to use to support that outcome.
Sure.
So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to try and think about where's the weight in the things that I want to be able to present. So, and how does one maybe add to the next?
Yeah.
So try and sequence those things. Would be, hey, I just realized she was here. So sequence those things, and how can you get those, once you have those, how can you do that as succinctly as possible, so that you're able to be really strong in the choice of words that you carry.
Yeah. So it's like, the thing is like, if you have a long period of time, like about 3 or 4 hours, you can well prepare for it. But if you only have 20 minutes, then you need to do other things, like reading and understand the case, how you can stand in front of the people that you really care about and come down and be comfortable and present.
So, I mean, obviously they're stressing your ability to do some critical thinking in a very short period of time. That's the whole goal. And so that they want you to be able to do that critical thinking. So you want to be able to, so to me, I know how I would do it, and then I would be, as I'm reading, starting to almost outline, and then go from that outline and prioritize at the end. So from a time perspective, that's the choice that I would make, is that, to try and gear up, but really put go into the priority and how you're building your own case to present to them. So I would do that, and I would make sure that I was really clear. I don't know, how much time do you get to present?
15 minutes.
15? Okay. Yeah, I would just prioritize it, and what is the supporting evidence you have for your case.
Thank you.
Happy to help one-on-one.
How does one make a speech without sounding like, if you're relying on cue cards, to tell you what to do, to say, then how do you, to avoid sounding like a robot out there? How do you make it fresh and spontaneous and not sound like you're just reading from the card? I've seen a lot of people do that in my class before that I took on speech. So I'm kind of concerned about that whenever I make a speech.
Okay, so the question is about not using cue cards and having it feel like it's just flowing instead of being something read. And I actually recently went to a CEO presentation. I'm not going to say who it was, because she literally had a paper and read from it. And I was shocked. But over time, you could tell she was still quite nervous as a presenter. And so you could feel it dissipate, but she literally read word for word. I think that what happens then is it doesn't feel like it's just natural, right? So it's like, how do you have it feel natural? So for me, it's going and creating that outline and that framework, and then thinking about it without using it. So today I created all of this, but my goal was to have it here as an anchor for you, but to just really let it flow and take some direction. So I'd say having the outline is a little bit, but I would say that it's some balance as you continue to present, because you will get more and more comfortable in that time frame that you're yet to have that 100% comfortableness. Then you're going to want to have something in front of you, because when your mind leaves you, you're like, what was I going to say? Like, having it there, does that make sense?
Yeah, it definitely is. It's needed at first for me, but I think the more you do it, the less you will rely on it, probably. It'll just be there as a kind of like a, what is it when they walk a tightrope? You got a safety thing at the bottom of the
Yes, yes.
That's what you do, but just back up.
That's interesting, equating, making a presentation to tightrope. Help me out. Tightrope walking. Okay, I'm out of this corner of my eye seeing Gina here, and I think that means that my time is up. Okay. Well, I am happy to have you. I would love to hear if any of this influenced you. And there it is. I would love to hear it. Feel free to reach out at any time. If there's something that I can help you with individually or your organization, I would love to. So thanks for coming this morning.